If your cat sleeps in your bed at night, they are trying to tell you something, and almost nobody is actually listening. It looks like a cuddle. It feels like a cute little habit. But what your cat is really doing is one of the most emotionally exposed things a predator can do. And if you read it wrong, and most people do, you can miss a message they have been sending you for years. Here is my promise to you. In the next few minutes, I am going to hand you a decoder for every sleeping position, every chosen spot, and every quiet signal your cat leaves in your bed. And I am saving the most important one for the very end, because a sudden change in where your cat sleeps is something I have watched send owners running to my clinic just in time. Stay with me, because once you see this, you will never look at bedtime the same way again. I am Dr. Rachel, and I have spent more years than I care to count on the floor with frightened cats, at kitchen tables with worried families, and in the exam room learning to read the little creature that quietly owns the house. And if clinical work teaches you anything, it is that cats are not silent because they have nothing to say. They are silent because they are saying everything with their bodies. And most of us were simply never handed the alphabet. Sleep is where that alphabet gets loud. The average cat sleeps somewhere between 12 and 16 hours a day, and where they choose to spend those hours tells you almost everything about how safe, how bonded, and how healthy they truly feel. For years, my clients kept asking me the same thing. They wanted all of my little at-home tricks, the calming routines, the feeding tweaks, and the simple recipes I share across the exam table, gathered in one place instead of scattered across 100 separate visits. So I finally sat down and put them together. It is a practical guide to transforming your cat's comfort, trust, and daily well-being, the very things that make a cat feel safe enough to fall asleep pressed against you in the first place. If your cat's sleep, stress, or bond with you is something you genuinely want to improve, you can grab it at the link in the description or in the pinned comment. Now let me show you exactly what your cat has been telling you every single night. Let's start with the one everybody gets wrong. It was never really about staying warm. Yes, cats love heat. Their comfort zone sits somewhere around 86 to 97 degrees, which is warmer than most of us keep our homes. So a warm body does feel wonderful to them. But here's what breaks that theory apart. Cats are professional heat hunters. They will find the sunny patch on the carpet, the warm laptop, the radiator, the pile of laundry fresh out of the dryer. If warmth were the whole story, your cat has a dozen better, hotter options than a restless human who rolls over all night. So why do they keep choosing you? Because sleep is the single most defenseless moment in a cat's entire day. Every ancient instinct they carry is screaming at them to hide, to tuck into a corner where no predator could ever reach them. And instead, your cat walks past every safe hiding spot in the house and climbs into bed beside a creature many times their size. That is not about temperature. That is trust at a depth most owners never fully appreciate. A well-known study out of Oregon State University found that about 64% of cats form a secure attachment to their person, strikingly similar to the way infants bond with a parent. When your cat chooses your bed, they are telling you something they cannot say out loud. You make me feel safe enough to switch off every survival instinct I own. Now here is a layer most people miss entirely. When your cat sleeps against you, they are quietly blending their scent into yours. Have you noticed how your cat presses their cheek or forehead into you right before they settle? That is not random affection. That is chemistry. Cats carry scent glands along their cheeks, their lips, their chin, the base of their tail, and even between their toes. When they rub you, they deposit facial pheromones, the same family of calming signals that tell a cat this territory is safe. But sleeping pressed against you does something bigger than marking. It creates a shared communal scent. In the wild, cats who belong to the same colony groom and sleep in a pile specifically so they all smell like one another, because a matching scent is how they recognize family without a single sound. When your cat weaves their smell into yours night after night, they are performing an ancient ritual that says, you two belong to the same group. This is also why your cat sniffs you so intensely, sometimes for 10 or 20 seconds straight, when you come home smelling like another animal or a strange place. To them, you smell wrong, and that bedtime cuddle is partly them repairing the scent that went missing while you were gone. Here's the third thing, and it might change how you see that little face on the pillow. Your cat genuinely believes they are your bodyguard. Ever notice how they insist on one specific post? Maybe right by your head, maybe curled at your feet, maybe wedged against the small of your back. That placement is never accidental. Even the softest, most pampered indoor cat still carries the full wiring of a predator, and predators are built to track threats. When your cat positions themselves beside you at night, part of their brain believes they are standing watch. In feral colonies, cats actually take turns resting and staying alert, a rotating guard duty that goes back thousands of years. So watch where yours lands. If they face the door, they are covering the entry point. If they curl near your head, they are guarding the most vulnerable part of you. Will a 9-pound cat actually fight off an intruder? Almost certainly not. But in their mind, they have claimed a post, assigned themselves a job, and every single night they clock in for a shift they never agreed to be paid for. And this is where it gets genuinely fun because every sleep position is a specific message. Let's decode the big ones. First, the tight curl, the classic little loaf with paws tucked and tail wrapped over the nose. This is the most protective shape a cat can take. It shields the belly, conserves body heat, and keeps every vital organ hidden. A cat who always sleeps like this near you feels safe enough to be close, but is still keeping one foot in survival mode. That is trust with a thin layer of caution. Next, the full sprawl, legs stretched, belly to the ceiling, maybe flopped completely upside down. The belly holds a cat's most fragile organs, so exposing it is the single loudest statement of security they can make. A cat sleeping belly up has decided that absolutely nothing bad can happen to them while you are near. Then there is the back turn, when they curl up facing away from you. So many owners take this personally. Please don't. In cat language, turning their back on you means they trust you so completely they see no reason to keep an eye on you. It is a compliment dressed up as a snub. And finally, the full contact press, when they jam themselves against your side or wedge into an impossible little gap between your arm and your ribs. That one is devotion in its purest form. They want zero distance between you. There is one more position worth knowing, and it is the quiet one people overlook, the paw or tail draped across you. When your sleeping cat reaches out and rests a single paw on your arm or loops their tail over your wrist, they are keeping physical contact even while unconscious. It is an anchor. If you shift in the night, that contact tells them instantly, without waking fully, that their person is still right there. I have owners tell me their cat wakes the second they leave the bed, and this is exactly why. You were their tether. Here is number 5, and it is one of the most underappreciated things a bonded cat will do. They rewrite their own biology for you. Cats are naturally crepuscular, which means their bodies are hardwired to be most active at dawn and dusk, the exact windows when their wild ancestors hunted. By nature, your cat's internal clock should clash completely with your 9 to 5, sleep at night human schedule. Yet study after study shows that cats living closely with people gradually shift their sleep and wake cycles to mirror their owners. They learn to stay awake through more of your day and sleep more deeply through your night, not because it is natural, but because that is when you are available. Think about what that means. An internal clock refined over thousands of years of evolution gets quietly overwritten, just so your cat can spend more waking hours inside your world. It is also why they appear at the door when you come home, or start pacing near your face 2 minutes before your alarm goes off. They have memorized your rhythm and sync themselves to it out of preference, not habit. Number 6 is the one that gives people chills. Your cat feels your stress before you have even said a word. Cats are remarkably tuned into the humans they are bonded with, and the science is finally catching up to what owners have felt for decades. When you are stressed, your body floods with cortisol, your breathing rate climbs, your movements sharpen, and your scent chemistry subtly changes. Your cat reads all of it. They do not know why you are upset, but they know with certainty that something is off. This is why so many cats turn into Velcro when their person is sick, anxious, or grieving, and sleeping beside you gives them a front row seat to your baseline. Night after night, they learn your normal resting heart rate, your usual breathing pattern, the way you settle. So when something shifts, they notice immediately. And here is a beautiful piece of it. When a cat purrs against you at night, that purr vibrates at a frequency between roughly 25 and 150 hertz. A range research has linked to lowering stress and even easing tension in the body. In a very real sense, your cat is not just sensing your stress. They are trying to soothe it. Now, the one I promised you, and the reason I need you to stay to the end. When a cat who always slept with you suddenly stops, listen very closely. Cats are deep creatures of habit, and when they break a pattern this meaningful, they are almost always communicating. Sometimes the reason is physical, and this is the one that lands cats on my exam table. A cat who is in pain, running a fever, or feeling unwell will instinctively seek solitude because hiding weakness is a survival reflex buried deep in their brain. A healthy cat runs a body temperature between about 100.5 and 102.5 degrees, and when they feel off, that instinct to isolate can switch on days before you would ever see an obvious symptom. So if your older cat suddenly wants to sleep alone, or a cat who has cuddled you for years quietly retreats under the bed, please do not dismiss it as moodiness. A vet visit is absolutely worth it. Other times the reason is environmental: a new pet, a new baby, a new partner, a rearranged bedroom, a change in your work hours. Something that feels tiny to you can feel enormous to a creature who reads the world through territory and routine. And sometimes it is emotional. Cats remember. If something startled them in that room, a loud argument, a slammed door, a frightening noise, they may pull away to protect themselves. The thread through all of it is simple. Your cat chose your bed because they trusted you completely. So when that choice changes, they are not being difficult. They are telling you something has changed. Watch, listen, rule out the medical first, and then gently help them find their way back to feeling safe. Because here is the truth I want to leave you with. That nightly ritual was never a small thing to your cat. It was the loudest, most honest thing they know how to say. The least we can do is learn to hear it. Before you go, one important note from me as a vet. Everything I have shared here is educational, meant to help you understand and observe your cat more closely. It is not a substitute for veterinary care. If anything about your cat's sleep, behavior, or health has you concerned, please talk to your own veterinarian who can examine your cat in person. Take care of that little bodyguard on your pillow, and I will see you in the next one.